Today we're looking at a problem from DeltaMath in the section titled Finding Angles in a Triangle. And so here's what you're going to do. It's going to tell you a triangle, and then it's going to give you some measurements, and then it's going to find an angle or find a side, and then it's going to tell you to the nearest degree, tenth, hundredths, whatever. So pay attention to that because it does sometimes switch between problems, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to draw the triangle. So I drew triangle RST, and then you want to label all the information they gave you. So they told us side S is 28. So if here's angle S, here's side S. And they said side T is 37 centimeters. So here's angle T, so the opposite side is 37 centimeters, and angle R is 149. All right. We want to find angle S to the nearest degree. So here's angle S. Well, we don't know side R, so we can't get angle S by just one step, okay? We actually need to solve for a side first. And so the side I'm going to solve for is the side that's opposite angle R, the one that's given. So I'm going to use the law of cosines for side R. So for the law of cosines, you say the R squared is equal to the other two sides squared added together minus 2 times the two sides times the cosine of whatever that angle is. So if you plug that all in, you're going to have R is equal to the square root, because you want a square root after you've squared. 28 squared plus 37 squared minus 28 times 37 times the cosine of 149. Can be tricky entering that into a calculator. So I recommend using Desmos scientific calculator. So this first line right here, I squared 28, I squared 37, I subtracted 2 times 28 times 37 times the cosine of 149, made sure my calculator was in degree mode right here. And then I got this really large answer, 3,929, so I knew that's not right because that's way too big. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to take the square root. So I did square root of the answer. There is an answer. Let me move this up just a tad. There is an answer button, so you can just type the square root of the answer. Okay? That gives us side R. So you can actually just label this side right here, 63 centimeters. And you might think that's the answer, but it's not, because what did they want? They wanted angle S, this over here, okay? But now that we know an angle and its opposite side, we can use that angle and its opposite side. So instead of using another law of cosines, we can use law of sines because it's a little bit easier, but it's up to you. You can look on the chart and see and use one of the law of cosines if you want. So here's some of my steps. Make sure solve for the side, and then make sure your calculator's in degree mode. And then to solve for angle S, you can either use the law of sine or cosines at this point, once you've used the law of cosines once, and round to the place value for each problem that it tells you. So in this one, it tells us nearest degree, but in some others, it might be tenths or hundredths, okay? So for law of sines, I did the sine of 149 over its opposite side, 63, set it equal to the sine of S over its opposite side, 28. Then I did the cross product. So the sine of S is equal to 28 times the sine of 149 divided by 63. So if we go back over to the calculator, I typed that all in. I did 28 times the sine of 149 over 63. Got this really small decimal, and I knew that couldn't be right. So if you go back, if you want to solve for the angle, you have to use the inverse sign. So to find that, you click on function. Here's the inverse sine. And then I did second answer again. The answer is on the main. So here's the answer. I took this inverse sine of that previous answer and I got 13.232 blah, 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 blah. They want us to round to the nearest whole, or a degree in this case. So after the decimal is a 2, so it just stays 13. Okay? And then you submit that in DeltaMath.